In this video, I'll overview sandwiches. There are several main ingredients in every sandwich. While bread doesn't have to be in every sandwich, it is in the majority of sandwiches. However, we'll talk about that there are open-faced sandwiches that maybe have one piece of bread, or a closed sandwich that has two pieces of bread. To begin with, we'll talk about the different breads. When you are selecting your bread for a sandwich, you want to make sure that it's going to add the appropriate flavor. It'll add some nutritional component. So having a whole grain or multigrain roll. The color will also add to it. A nice roasted vegetable sandwich encased in a dark pumpernickel rye will really show off those vegetables and give the overall appearance a great look. As well as texture. You don't want to have some very soft, fragile, delicate ingredients inside a very hard, crusty roll. As soon as you take a bite, it all flies out. So the bread, what you are encasing your sandwich in, is extremely important. And secondly, we have the spread. Down at the bottom here, the spread, which generally could be a butter or a mayo. Mayo tastes a lot better. However, because of the oil content, it does soak up into the bread a lot. Butter is spread onto these breads or onto your different bases in order to act as like a moisture protectant. It coats it and allows all of those lunch meats to not really extract those moistures into the bread and become soggy. Vegetable purees are a great thing to use as a spread. However, it again is an item that will easily absorb into your bread products. Some common examples include pesto or a chipotle mayo or some other vegetable purees such as hummus and olive tapenade as some different spreads. The filling then. The filling really is up to your imagination. The picture here on the right shows as an overall survey as to what fillings and what proportion of fillings are used in the United States. You can see the majority of fillings then are chicken, as well as different cheeses. There's a small category of beef and salmon, as well as shrimp, eggs, bacon, tuna, and ham. And again, these are just a few different varieties of fillings, mainly sticking with your proteins, but it could be any variety of vegetables. Your lettuce and tomatoes and onions are probably your most common that you'll find. So the types of hot sandwiches then, we'll start with those. We have hot closed sandwiches and hot open-faced sandwiches. At the top, we'll start with one of my favorites, the Reuben. It has the sliced corned beef, sauerkraut, Thousand Island dressing, and Swiss cheese on rye bread. This is an example of a hot closed sandwich. It is also an example of a grilled sandwich, kind of like a grilled cheese. You have your basic hot sandwich to where maybe the protein is hot in it, your hamburgers, your Philly cheesesteaks. Down here we have a deep fried sandwich. This is the Monte Cristo. Monte Cristo has ham and turkey and Swiss cheese in between white bread, and then is submerged in an egg batter similar to French toast. And then you would deep fry it. More modernly, it is pan-fried, so it's not completely submerged in the deep fat fryer. Next on the hot open-faced sandwiches. This is one of my favorites here, Kentucky Hot Brown. I saw this for the first time on Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. It is a hot open-faced turkey sandwich with an awesome cheese sauce on top and crispy bacon, typically garnished with a tomato, but you could always grill that tomato or roast it, again, just to elevate it a little bit there. And then your most common hot open-faced sandwich, one of my true loves here, is the pizza. Again, it has your base, that bread. It is a yeast dough made for the pizza dough, and then all the toppings on top. Again, a hot open-faced sandwich. We'll move on to cold sandwiches then. There's cold closed sandwiches as well as cold open-faced sandwiches. Our cold closed sandwiches, we have our basic, so it could just be a ham and cheese sandwich. My daughter's favorite sandwich is ham, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and some mayonnaise in between two slices of bread. Your basic closed cold sandwich. Then you have your multi-deckers. Here's an example of your club sandwich. This is a turkey club. It's basically a BLT with some sort of protein in it. This also looks like it could have some avocado in the mix, a nice, Southwestern style might have a chipotle mayo and pepper jack cheese in there. And then here you have another example of your basic cold sandwich, which is the muffaletta sandwich. This is a lot more than what I would consider a basic sandwich, though. It has a lot of different Italian cured meats in it, as well as an olive tapenade and roasted red peppers, served in a large Italian round loaf. You also have, for your closed cold sandwiches, your wraps, your tortillas that are encasing ingredients and closed together. Tea sandwiches are another example, not pictured here, and this would be a crustless sandwich, soft, delicate, frou-frou ingredients, again, really soft and cut into different shapes, made to look like fancy little finger sandwiches. And then the cold open-faced sandwiches, by far the most popular, is the canapé that we will talk about in our next segment. But the cold open-faced sandwich is really one of a trend right now, having one piece of bread or one base to it and having all the ingredients on top. Especially with moving into a low-carb diet, we're trying to limit the amount of pieces of bread, and it really yields to a great presentation. It's important to talk about sanitation when we're discussing sandwiches. Most of these sandwiches will not be cooked any further, so you need to make sure that you are following the proper protocol. You'll notice in the picture, this gentleman here is using gloves. That's great. He's using gloves so that he's not handling the products with his bare hands, definitely following the law. The problem is, he touched that salami he put onto his sandwich, then he's touching the cheese, now he's touching the tomatoes. He'll continue to touch all of these different products where there could be listeria on that lunch meat that now is on the tomatoes, and if someone orders a vegetarian sub or sandwich, they're not going to expect that contact was made. So it's important to use tongs, or when you are doing multiple sandwiches at one time, to use gloves using all of one product, and then to wash your hands and change your gloves before using the next product. There are a lot of cooked and raw products that are going on the same sandwich, such as with a hamburger. So again, you want to make sure that that cross-contamination isn't going to happen. In regards to assembling sandwiches, which I just mentioned that if you're making more than one at a time, you need to think of this more of an assembly line. Imagine you need to make 200 of the same sandwich. It's important to not do one at a time for efficiency's sake. You want to have all your ingredients ready to go. Get all of your mise en place ready to go, your equipment, your ingredients, and then work with a manageable amount. Spread out, here you can see 4 different buns. Spread that first layer on to all of the buns. Then move on, you can see, to the tomatoes. Then they went on to the onions, and then they went on with a little fresh squeeze of lemon juice, and then it looked like a mayonnaise on top, with some then finishing up lettuce and placing the top piece on. So again, this is just showing you and demonstrating 4 different sandwiches, but imagine you're doing 200. You don't want to pull out all 200 in one shot. Imagine how long that would take you and how long you're in that danger zone with those products. So maintain your sanitation, build an appropriate assembly line, and work as efficiently as possible, maintaining your proper storage levels. Presentation is key for your sandwiches. There's not a whole lot going on the outside. Really, it's seeing all the layers and the beautiful colors within. You'll notice you can cut them on quarters or on a diagonal, or cut them into quarters, such as with your club sandwich. But even notice the stacking and the presentation. It's cutting it at an angle or on that diagonal makes it easier to handle. Generally, you don't need to secure it with toothpicks, but if you do, again, displaying that appropriately. Your hot closed sandwiches, they're best if you serve them closed. With that top bun on, it'll keep that heat packed within. However, for presentation's sake, such as the one on the bottom right here, it's great to see that nice, egg on top of that pulled pork and the bacon sticking out and that cheese melting. That's part of that presentation. Sometimes your hamburgers are served completely closed and all the cold condiments are off to the side. That way you can choose to add what you'd like. Presentation is extremely important when we're talking about sandwiches. But perhaps more important is what is going with them. So what really stacks up to be served with these awesome sandwich creations of our imagination? There's a lot of variety here. A lot of times you're going to find your potato products, your French fries, either sweet potato fries, a more savory fry, potato wedges. You have all different styles and varieties you can include. Tater tots are becoming extremely popular. You also have chips, a large variety of chips as well. Side salads such as your coleslaw, your potato salad, pasta salads, different vegetable salads would go great with your sandwiches and really round out your entire meal. Also, pickled vegetables, your most common and by far the most popular, would be your pickle. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you.